Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another installment in our No Buff Rift Clear series. Last week we had a bit of a struggle, mainly due to the fact that the character that we were using was underleveled. And this week, though there's still a lack in character leveling, I was able to get the 3-star clear due to the circumstances that are permitted with this particular challenge. And this is the level 20 solo tower defense rift where Captain America is the only usable hero. And the biggest reason why this went better is because, well, there's environmental hazards that allow us to get rid of the 30 enemies, or most of the 30 enemies, a lot quicker than there was last week. Last week we did have a time restraint, but there's just not the damage output there with the level that we had the character at, unfortunately. So hopefully we can go back through and revisit that at a later point in time. So Captain America has really 3 different options for sending opponents off the edge of this platform. The most obvious of the options is his heavy attack, which sends his shield soaring out and away, and it can make contact with multiple opponents as it is going out, though it doesn't have any sort of hitbox on the return of that, but you wouldn't want to be hitting opponents on the return of the shield anyway, so that really kind of serves in your benefit for this challenge in particular. The second option, of course, is the shield dash ability, which is the only ability we have unlocked for this character at this point in time. And that was a little bit tricky due to the fact that it's consuming the maximum amount of energy points because we have not upgraded that ability at all. Because, let's face it, that is what the definition of a no buff type challenge is. So that really shouldn't come as any surprise in that regard. And the last option that he has for sending those grunt opponents over the edge is the finishing hit off of his standard attack sequence. But to be honest, I never really used that with the intention of sending opponents over the edge, just because it's a lot more time consuming than the previously 2 mentioned items are. Now, the more difficult aspect of this particular challenge comes from 2 specific areas. The first one is the fact that there are a couple of mighty enemies that pop in that not only do they hit harder, but they don't take any sort of recoil off of your standard attacks until you have depleted their stagger gauge. And the other element that really kind of ramps up the difficulty with this challenge is the fact that you've got Ultimo hanging out there in the background, and he will occasionally send some of those energy beams sweeping across the platform. Now, Captain America, if you do have him at least level 10, he has access to the absolute defense, which will allow him to pop up his shield, barring him from taking any sort of damage in the area directly in front of him. But we don't have Captain America at that level, and I don't feel like it's the best use of the energy points in this challenge. So the only other option that we have for getting around that massive damage dealing attack from Ultimo is rolling around those attacks as they come through. And that worked really well for us. I've been playing this game for a long time. I'm very familiar with those dodging mechanics, and so it wasn't that difficult to pull off. So that really came in handy when it comes to taking less than 4,100 damage in the course of any fight. You do take a couple of hits every now and again. I don't know of anyone that's good enough to avoid all sources of damage, especially when you are the only member of your team in this scenario. There are a couple of damage reduction or damage limiting type challenges out there in other rifts, but you have a full team to work with at that point in time. You are the only target in these solo type scenarios, which is really what kind of makes things difficult there. But as long as you are playing smart and getting around at those heavy hitting attacks, either from the mighty enemies or from Ultimo himself, you really don't have a lot to worry about with that particular aspect of this challenge. And then the more difficult aspect was finishing in 1 minute and 40 seconds or less. And basically what that boiled down to was a little bit of RNG. Yeah, we did need to play a little bit smarter in making sure that we could get most of those basic type enemies off the ledge as quickly as we could, as well as relying on some of those sweeping attacks from Ultimo to take out large amounts of enemies that were remaining, or deal increased amounts of damage to the mighty enemies that were present. Because even though Ultimo may have delivered the killing blow to some of them, it still counts as a character takedown for us and gets us closer to that 30-person max. So that really was the end-all be-all for getting this challenge with a significantly under-leveled character. But what do you think? Did you enjoy today's video and the more analytical breakdown of this challenge with a no-buff type character? Make sure you let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Don't forget to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and please make sure that you subscribe for that daily variety content. Thanks again for your time, and I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your day.